Hello and welcome to another episode of Wars Going On. I'm Arcturus and we're here on the Forerunner server to bring you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, this is a community-based podcast, so do please remember to get involved in the comments, like and subscribe, and help spread word about the channel. As Sebastian is still not able to join us because he's dealing with the aftermath of a natural disaster, I have been joined by Mystical.
Hello mate, thanks for having me. I'm Mystical. I run a channel called Mystical Gaming. Do Watcher Realm content. I have a Forerunner account and a global account, and I sort of bounce between those doing content. Generally my account isn't as advanced as a lot of people, so I generally try and find lesser teams to achieve the same content as other people. There you go.
Brilliant. So as we normally have on the channel, we generally try and talk about the comments that have come in from the viewers. This time the comment came in from Sebastian, who was very quick to point out that in the last video where we were talking about bounce heroes, that's heroes who you drop into the gameplay and then pull them out to redeploy at a later time, I had left off 2 heroes. Those heroes were in fact, he says, navigating frantically over to them. The first one was Ares, and he has an attack called Whirlwind Cut, which immediately attacks people, the 5 enemies on deployment in front of him, doing a big attack. So it's between 200 and what's that? 220, 400% damage. And then he inflicts damage, vulnerability, and stun on them. So, but that's only once, and it's probably the most disappointing thing about him. If he got an artifact, I think, that made it work like Silas's artifact, which we'll talk about on the Eye of Penitence, where he can start doing his damage mitigation on a timer, I think that would make him significantly more useful. But then
much better.
Yeah. And maybe the devs will do that, but at the moment he's the fighter version of Torador, but he's ultimately disappointing, I find.
Yeah, I mostly just use him for that defense reduction up there because it's on pretty much all the time, and it's 20%, isn't it? I think Ezred is slightly better at 30%, but she's not on all the. But as long as his attack speed is of a certain level, then he will have that upper % of the.
Yeah,
which is all I really use him for.
Yeah, if you can keep his attack second above 3 seconds, then you're definitely going to be able to get the best out of him, and he will be able to provide that damage so everyone else can do whatever there is, especially when he does bonus damage to people that he's already damaged with his second passive.
Yeah, exclusive artifact for him that fixes the stun being able to be done, on a timer would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he's a completely unusable in Semra for Whirlwind Strikes, or Whirlwind Cut.
Oh, yeah.
Could never remember the name of that skill. Whirlwind Cut. And the second one, which I left out, and is obviously one which is coming to global very, very soon. And it's this guy, Xaris, the Summoner. And he's got these brilliant little souls that he summons on deployment, and then he can summon up another 4 of them with his ultimate. But each time he does his ultimate, and he cycles his ultimate very, very quickly, he reduces the number summoned by 1. And as he likes to kill them as part of his basic, his usability drops off relatively quickly. There are videos of him in AoE Arena where he's absolutely deadly for the first 2 rounds, but then
he's a beast there, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, and he just drops into any team. But if you were running him with someone like a Nora who boosts summons when they die, boosts labor when summons die, then you could have horrendous amounts of chaos caused by him and her together.
Yeah, Absolutely. I mean, he absolutely ruins. I steer clear that have got in AoE Arena. I am not quick enough in the first 2 rounds to get enough damage done before I'm already pretty much dead anyway.
Yeah, I ran into one yesterday, and I thought I might be okay after round 2, but no, this guy had actually thought about it and had a real good composition. So for every round, he was bringing in a new hero to do the damage to make up for the fact that that Xaris had dropped off, and he was cycled out Xaris and dropped in someone else, and it was just like, oh god, this is someone who knows what they're doing. So
How dare they?
okay, so that was the wrapping up those bounce heroes. If you haven't yet watched the video from last week, do check it out. It was a good chat with Win the Grey, and we had a good fun time. And I hope we're going to have a good time tonight with Mystical. So on to the news. Well, normally in this section, we would talk about the patch notes on Forerunners, but for the 3rd week running, we've had no patches on Forerunners. Now, if I was a hysterical content creator, I'd be screaming that the game is dying at this point, but I think we can both agree that that's not the case, is it?
No, I mean, I think they're just trying to make sure the gap between Global and Forerunner doesn't get any bigger than it already is. It's just getting out of
Yeah,
hand.
it is. I mean, we've had an awful lot of updates here on Forerunners, and I still don't think you're getting the camp updates in what I've seen of the patch notes.
No, still
Which
nothing to do with the farm.
no, and I'm wondering if some of the things that they wanted to get, they just couldn't get into this patch because it was too big. Because it's going to
Very
be a big
possibly.
update. They're taking the server offline, and they normally try and keep the server online for doing updates. So I think it's going to be significant. I think everyone's going to feel the differences. Obviously, the arena interface, the arena seasons are coming, and you're going to be able to start competing towards the lady Alexandra, who is in the wild, and she is causing absolute chaos in every game mode where she's present.
I am 6 years away from that.
Oh god, yeah, I'm really struggling with it's my least favorite week of arena, ending in single target. So
Yeah, if I'll stay in Plat 3 probably, and that'll be it. So I'll get to, well, she's 60k, so I think about,
50k
yeah.
for the base, and then 50k for a summon stone.
So I'll be about 6 years before I have a chance to get her.
Yeah, I know that some people are pushing to have her cost reduced, but I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately.
I am
Maybe after.
curious if that bit up there, your Honours Gauntlet, will start dishing out when it becomes real, whether that starts dishing out Apex coins as well.
I really thought that when they introduced the Honours Gauntlets, they would actually start handing out the Apex coins in there. But I think as we are in this beta version of it at the moment, that we're not having access to that, and we're getting just the limited version with a couple of ancient stones if
Yeah.
you're able to do all of your battles in the week. Unfortunately, it's in the least convenient time slots for me in my work in my day, so I've not really been able to do it.
I really like the commander's skills in it. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Really does change it up quite significantly. Well
Yeah,
placed
from what
commander
I've
skill completely changed the game for you.
yeah, from what I've seen, it does seem to be a good way of mixing up the gameplay and some of the skills some of the things they brought in, such as the stun mechanics, such as the enemy immunity mechanics, or ways of mitigating that initial damage and stopping spawn camping. Is a really good idea. But yeah, well, it's just a shame they didn't think about introducing those into Prime Arena before introducing another game mode.
Well, arena's already those that have Pope and those that don't.
Mm. Yeah, or Valderon if it's single target arena.
Yeah. There's sort of about 3 champions, isn't there, that dominate it? So probably Pope, Velderon, and then Ingrid to a degree as well.
Yeah. And the other thing which is happening next weekend is Kigiri, the long-awaited next limited summon is here. The devs have put out a whole new video showing him off. It's running behind me right now, and yeah, there's some new things to play with next week. But I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Does it say anywhere it's a limited summon? Or...
Yeah, it's guaranteed 250.
Okay, happy days.
Yeah, so the Leaker crews have made that clear for some time, and I think it does say somewhere where he is the next limited summon, and it fits with the same style
Absolutely.
of Lust event. The
Got
fishing
fish.
mini game is a joke. We were just talking about that off camera before it came on, because ultimately it's the first people to get a fish that's 26 meters long, and that's it. And they get something and everyone else misses out. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. Those boss rush stages are always good for a laugh to see how much damage you can put out, and the daily leaderboards and that are always good to see how high you can push.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I think he's going to be a good addition to the game. He'll be a nice addition to my Watcher team, and it'll be fun to have him in my Semrobot teams.
Yeah, I see on there is a new skin for him, but I didn't see anywhere in the scripting of where you get the skin from.
I imagine it'll be from the skin shop, and it'll probably be in the order of like $20 to. Well, we know the pricing for these things now is between $20 and $40. It seems to
You
be
think that's going to
there.
be a straight up buy then?
Yeah, I think so. I don't see why they've now kind of realised that the people got really annoyed about the Setram and the Zilitu skins, and now they've kind of moved away from sticking them on the ultimate leaderboards. So they now kind of try to make them more available, but they've made them more available by sticking massive price tags on them. So
They
it's
got
going
to
to be
make money, haven't
interesting. Yeah, next weekend is going to be a big weekend. It's
yeah.
You've got a limited summon. You've got the 3 hero banner of Xaris, Lucius, and Rezak on global. So that'll be another big summoning alongside. So people think
Yeah.
that that'll probably be a 2x, 15x banner to try and encourage people to summon more. Because basically, the devs are trying to get people to spend money again after people haven't been spending money because of the lack of updates.
People have just been hoarding their summons, haven't they? There haven't been.
Mm.
I summoned on this banner because I was bored and fancied a shot at Constance. That was originally it. That was about it. But other than that, if I wasn't getting into my account, I wouldn't have summoned at all. Not a chance. You'd hold them for this event.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. It's going to be pretty crazy. We're going to see a lot of money being spent, but I think ultimately it's going to be a good weekend for everybody.
How much are you allowed to spend?
You can see on screen, I've got like 40k gems, and I've got just about 100 blue stones. So I'm going to probably go pretty hard. I'm definitely going to get him to a naught, and I'll see how deep into stones I go before going on. I'm not exactly sure which banners we're getting on Forerunners, and my Forerunner account is my primary account. So I'm going to be my global account's currently parked because I've had some other things going on, so I'm not really looking to summon on those.
Okay.
Right, so moving on to the topic of the day. We have previously done a series on the generic artifacts which are in the game, and a couple of people have said, "Oh, it'd be great if you could do an exclusive series." Now,
Wow.
the trouble with the exclusives is that there's over 50 of them. So either the pair of us are going to be here till like 4 o'clock in the morning trying to go through them all and talk about them, or we try and split them up. But even then, we're left with an awful lot. Um, so I made the decision to go for the fighters, which may have been a bad mistake because there is a 19 of these damn things and 20 if we count Kigiris. So let's go for this, and we'll see how far we get before the two of us fall asleep.
Okay. Yeah, no worries whatsoever.
Right. So first up, we have Abomination's artifact. Now, this one I don't think is in the buffed state on global yet, and you just get the rage on there, and currently it's rubbish. It's really, I mean, it's fine in something like Guild v Guild where you're trying to rush cycle um, uh, the ultimate to try and get to the second activation. But other than that, you don't really, you're losing out on the extra damage that you'd get from Eye of Sin, or you're losing out on the tankiness that you'd get from going for the visor, the lunacy visor. So it's definitely not one that I would generally go for. But when you add that 20% damage on, it actually makes it a good artifact, in my opinion.
Yeah, there. I mean, the the problem with the artifacts is where they came from, didn't they? I mean, they came originally from, who was it, Zulus, wasn't it? Who was just a
Yeah,
terrible
Zealous.
champion, and they
Yeah,
gave this exclusive artifact for him to try and fix him, as opposed to actually fixing the champion. An
yeah,
exclusive artifact wasn't good then, and it's still not that good now, to be honest. But it's given a whole breadth of win to this game over exclusive artifacts than anyone else, and we get
yeah.
some quite lazy artifacts, I think, as opposed to putting any really good thought into them. So yeah, I think it's a shame when it just comes up with, say, the rage buff without giving that 20% damage, because it shows that they've been lazy as a development and tested it properly. They should have a good project manager there.
Well, I mean, I think we talked on previous episodes about the quality assurance processes that the Moonton seem to have, and it doesn't necessarily seem that they are testing from an end user's perspective. They are testing. They seem to be testing, if they're testing at all, from an A5 god tier gear scenario,
Yeah.
and not from someone who's got generic gear at a low level and is
Half the
trying
school's
to
done.
exactly. So they're most of the players are getting a really damaged experience where, and that's why heroes such as Cratch and Azor are just so hated because they don't have that usability until you get them A5, and no one really wants to spend have six to draw a hero 6 times before they're even vaguely usable.
Yeah, 100%. Are you saying they're not ISO 9001 spec?
Dear, yeah, maybe not. Uh, so it is currently on global a terrible artifact. If and when you get the buff to it, it suddenly I think makes it a lot more viable. I'm currently using it because I'm also got his exclusive gear, so I'm trying to get the bonuses from having the extra stuns from him and the extra bonus damage from him as well. So because you get like 100% bonus damage during his ultimate, so that's 100. I'm adding 120% on top by
Yeah,
using his artifact and his exclusive
yeah.
gear. So that's a really nice buff to him.
The thing they do, though, is they do stop you needing half a dozen copies of Wailing Skull, for example, and needing two or three of them to build up a team, that sort of thing. So it does take away that need for you if you can get decent. I do think they help you out a little bit there.
Yeah. So I think so where does it come better than Eye of Sin? Or so Eye of Sin, it's immediately better now because Eye of Sin you only get the bonus when you start killing people. So
Ah, yeah, but you
this
get
is
more attack and more HP with it, though, don't you? If you've got it at level 25.
if you've got it at level 25. So yes, there is a trade off there. I'm just going to because yeah, most people are only going to have this about level 10. If you're fortunate or unfortunate enough to have it fully leveled up, then you're immediately into the first ultimate on deployment. If you get this fully maxed, you're straight into that first deployment, that first ultimate. So you're immediately
That
on
brings up a really
100%.
good point. The first thing I do when I get an exclusive artifact is I put it on the champion and I click promote on it. And then when you go to the promote, you'll actually see what it's going to promote as you level it,
Yeah.
which makes the
I've
world of difference to see if they're any good or not.
Yeah, and there are some of them which have a bonus feature that's added at stage 5. So we're not going to talk about it much in this other than in passing, but Regulus's artifact of the pommel, you get bonus health to allies at the 5th awakening of the artifact.
Yeah.
But it's pretty static until that point, and it's like those ones with that bonus tweak at the end are something extra. Right. So moving on, the next on our list was Ain's artifact. Now, Ain.
Stop putting in epics.
I you say that, but I mean, there's some of the other ones which are okay and actually work really well. But Ain is not an amazing hero to start with. He's very, very squishy, even in decent gear. And I would not want to be bringing him in for a 15 to 20% bonus damage to a shield, and it's increasing his damage by 15%. It's just not worth it for an epic.
You use him because you need a Lord skill, and he's all you've got.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty much what I use him for. That's it done.
Yeah, I mean, we're fortunate enough to run Ingrid these days, so he's pretty much on the bench. And I think I have his artifact A3 through misfortune. So even then, it's
Deserve
not.
that for having Ingrid.
It was on the back of a very lucky week of summoning, so as well, so it's made it even
Miserable
worse.
time.
So yeah, so it's a it's a terrible artifact on a terrible hero, and there is nothing really more to say about it. If he
I'm moving
had
swiftly on.
pushback, yeah, if he had some pushback, he'd be all right, but he's just bad.
He doesn't, and he hasn't, so it's shit.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, talking of not great heroes, but another bounce hero, is Apsan. Now, this is okay if and only if you are running Iovar as your lord.
Go on then. Yeah. I'm going to test this because this is weird and that's not right. I don't think the writing on Glory Recalled is correct. I think that's wrong. So if you go to the champion and you put skill books into the champion, see where it says within 15 seconds. I think that's meant to read after 15 seconds of deployment. So when you skill this champion up, if you get level 2, effect duration plus 2 seconds, that will then say within 17 seconds. And as you skill that up, that increases to 25 seconds.
Yeah.
Now, the flip side to this is when you skill up his artifact, and with the effect duration there, you get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His duration on his artifact skill up 15 seconds, you'll
Yeah.
have 10 seconds on a fully skilled out one. So I think his exclusive will then keep up glory recalled 100% of the time. I think that's some very bad work, which would be the first time in this game for the actual ability itself. I don't think that reads does, or the timings on. I think, but I could be wrong. I do need to test that. There's something in the back. Take that.
Okay, we'd be interested to hear the outcome of that testing, because at the moment he's very much, he was one of our early the heroes we said was a bounce hero because of this glory recalled, and it's limited use for 25 seconds and then his usability drops off, whereas this extends it out to 30, 35, 40 seconds. Now, if you're running Ivar, you get a bonus of 15% damage every 20 seconds or so. So you're getting that extension to that damage threshold from him by having Ivar as the leader. So I think there's some synergy there, but most people are just like, he's trash. But if you actually look at his stats, he's very good for a marksman, but he's terrible for a fighter. Okay, so moving swiftly onwards. Hello, Cat.
Hello, Cat.
Right, so moving swiftly on, we have Aracha's. Now, I think this is a brilliant artifact.
This is mental.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get her in a composition where you're getting some rage getting into her, the ability to have this up as 100% uptime, that's really, really nice. And hitting multiple targets, doing bonus damage, yeah, it's a really nice one to have on her.
Yeah, absolutely
Now,
fantastic. Permanent ultimate.
Yeah, I think because frequently you'd put her in something like flawless because you don't want her getting hit too much. But if she's got the webs and she's doing bonus damage, then she's not getting hit. So, and you're so it's like 33% from flawless versus this, which is basically running at 120% extra on top of 160% damage versus constantly versus a 33% increase if she doesn't get hit. So it gives her a bit more consistency in her damage output.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's from very early on. Even at level 25, the Arachno Shroud definitely has some decent usability, and the more copies of it you give, it goes up. It's not massive. The rage increase per basic, it would be nice if it was a bit more, but I guess they're trying to stop you cycling it too quickly.
Yeah, but if you find a long fight with her, then you're laughing, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I have used her in Semra as a stunner because of that, with this artifact on her.
Oh, you've got it as well, have you?
Yeah.
And Ingrid, you've got a tough old life, haven't you, with your account?
Which is what happens when you've been playing since February 2022. So
yeah, I took a break for sort of 6 months. I regretting that now.
Right. Next up are Arrogance's Eye of Mockery. Now this works so well, and especially if you have it Awakened 3 or above, because Awakened 3, which isn't shown on this screen, he does bonus damage to heroes which are burning. And if you're throwing him into any composition where there's burning on the field, he's now doing bonus damage with his artifact. He's doing bonus damage from his skill ups, from his awakenings. It's just fantastic. And he'll just, his damage output will just go up and up and up. And I like it over Wailing Skull because then you don't run into issues with placements because a little purple ghost has appeared and you can't put your hero down where you want to.
You've had that happen then as well, yeah? Good.
So many times.
I put my tank down or something like that on Semra, and bloody Wailing Skulls up there. Like, no, get off.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, I'm in two minds about this artifact for Cerberus. Just reposition it on screen. I kind of see it as it makes him be a damage bomb again. But often you want to use Cerberus as a buffer rather than a damage bomb.
Yeah, it's very much like you say, isn't it? I mean, you put him down there for the extra damage and wait for him to die, and don't put him down there to stay up and put the puddle. I mean, I don't know. No,
I mean,
I wouldn't be happy if I got it.
I've tried it, and I did try it briefly in Arena as a method of reducing the cost of some of my more premium characters, who are generally quite expensive. The Supreme Arbiters are supremely expensive to deploy, so you need something like this to try and make them someone like him to try and bring the cost down, or other things you can do. And because his first deployment cost is 8, and you can then use him to you'll get 8 cost back, because you're half his standard deployment cost when you pull him out, so you can get a large boost of cost quite quickly, and then you've got a damage bomb for later in the match to bring in and do some extra damage to the enemies. But I think in most cases I would prefer to run in most content I would prefer to run him in a Lunacy Visor.
Yeah.
Now Falcia, I've only ever played. No, I've had the artifact. I don't have Falcia. I've tried twice.
On the other
for
way
her.
round. So I have her, and I got what, 4,000 meteorites the other day. I've done 100 summons, and I didn't get a single exclusive artifact, let alone that one that I really want. I really want this one. I think it could be really interesting to try out. I think it could boost her damage significantly.
Yeah, definitely. I think the ability to go straight into that demon slaying stance really quickly and stay in it that bit longer is going to make, especially on her ultimate where she's doing those big 5 attacks. That's where she's going to really shine. I think the main issue with Shadow Slashes is it's just single target. So it's quite a limited way of being able to make use of her. Now, if it was like enemy in range or enemies, because you're swinging 2 swords, for goodness sake. If there's more than one enemy in range and she's swinging around 2 stinking swords, something's going to get hit. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's my only problem with her, is that
you've got a bit of a gripe about that, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I love the styling. I love the sort of the Witcher inspired character, but it's just a shame that she's only so limited in her single target. I don't have a decent Northern Lord to really run her and make use of her, but when I look at her kit and I look at how to make use of her, I just really struggle with that. It's one and done on a 3.6 seconds thing. So it's just a bit frustrating. Okay, so so where is it better? Which artifacts is it better than for Falcia? Now, there have been a couple of artifacts come into the game recently, which are quite good. And I'm struggling to remember the one that looks like the pauldron, the turtle shell one.
All right.
That would probably work quite well with her, because obviously in a northern team you're going to be running lots of shields on her, so she'll be doing bonus damage when shielded. And her A1, I think, gives her used to give her a shield for a short period of time to make her more effective, and she does both. So again, feeding into that bonus damage when shielded side of things.
That's where the Northerners get a lot of their damage from, isn't it? Keeping them shield and getting that shield up.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you're running Elder lead, then you've got all of that going on, because you've got him cycling his ultimate, handing out his talent to his allies, who are then doing 30% bonus damage on top of his Lord skill, which gives them bonus damage when shielded. So yeah, they're really slapping about, but I think that one would work quite well. Or if you're running someone, even Rourke behind her, and he's throwing out a shield to her when he's running his ultimates up. So that's quite a good one as well. So, is it going to be better than this? I don't think it's going to be really hard to beat that 5 true damage slashes at 260% damage.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, that's why I kept running it. I got 4,000. At least I should be seeing at least one exclusive. No, 2 exclusives, shouldn't you? It's 2%, isn't it?
Yeah.
I thought 100 bits, I should get 2. Who knows?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Always the way. Always the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, still hunting for that. That's probably one of my most wanted artifacts. I think there's a few that I really want, and here's is right up. Would really like to test and play with that. But
yeah, I think I'm going to have to wait for Falcia to come around and make sure I've got some gems in my repository for when that comes.
Wasn't she on a limited banner?
Yeah, she's 250 summon.
And you didn't go for
her? The first time round I tried and didn't get her, and I just didn't have enough points to go for it. I didn't have enough gems to go for it. And that was back in the day when I was completely free to play, rather than a low-tier dolphin, which is where I am these days. Okay, next up, Helga's Raven's Crest. I like this one.
yeah,
I have it at Awakened 1. The extra rage is quite nice, especially in the Immortal Codex, just for helping cycle that ultimate a little bit faster. I have just got her exclusive gear as well, which adds additional 30% damage during her ultimate. So yeah, she's coming together quite nicely, especially at A2. I've now got her A2 as well. So she's coming into this nice little machine gun of pain. So yeah, definitely one that I'm looking forward to playing with a bit more. I haven't done my Semra runs this week, but
I am curious if this was designed for her to fill those roles, or they were just lucky that they created this and players found these roles for her to actually slot into.
I think she was designed for Immortal Codex. I really do. And I think players have just found other ways to make use of her to make her more fun. Now I've got her exclusive gear and this artifact. I did try running her in anti-air arena because she is quite effective there. So if you've got other people weakening heroes and she targets the hero with the highest HP, she's dragging all of them down and someone else can finish him off really quickly. And so you've got 7 seconds of her machine gunning out, weakening everybody, for then someone like to come in with a big blast of damage, and it would just take out all of these weakened enemies. I think it's probably the best artifact for her.
I'd like to think they actually designed it for her like this, as opposed to it pure luck, but never know.
I think there's a lot about Helga that feels like they've took time on her characters, her design, and everything is about getting this speed down. And now they brought out the exclusive gear, which like they've said, okay, you've had to compromise her damage to increase her speed. So here's some ways of getting extra damage into her kit. So you've got the exclusive artifact, which is boosting her damage. You've got the exclusive gear, which is boosting her damage and boosting her speed. So yeah, I think they've really, there's obviously someone there who absolutely loves her, and they put a lot of time into the design of her to make her kit work really well.
Not the same designer that did Crash.
I think he got let go. Actually, Crash works quite well with Ingrid, but that's a story for another day. Right. Moving on. Kinezas. Now, this one is quite fun.
Right. Yeah.
Now, Kineza is another hero who you need to load up on speed. Obviously, her speed, when she has a high speed, she has more chance of dodging. So the more speed she has, the more chance she has of dodging. So, and when she dodges, she gains this key. And the artifact allows her to gain additional, there's a chance to gain additional stacks of these. And when she gains key, she's either gaining 15% bonus damage for gaining one key, or she's increasing her damage by 30% because she's gaining 2 stacks of key.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. I think she was a bit lackluster. Didn't get a lot of love. Now I've just recently got this, so I think I will build her up and try her out. But it's finding teams to put her in. Now I've seen people are on about using her in Guild and putting her out there.
I don't think
I don't know how that would go, to be honest.
I don't think it would work.
I think you're relying on RNG to see if she's going to dodge things.
Unless you're running her like wins one with like 1,000 speed, you're always going to be slightly compromised on her performance. But and as soon as someone comes around with, if someone sends in an uncommon destroyer with the smash, and it does the big smash in the 8 squares around the target, then she's gone. Or she might be able to dodge it, but she'll dodge one, but she probably wouldn't dodge more than one. And in that case, she's gone. Or someone has used bookkeepers and she's behind someone. I mean, the fact she's got short range makes her really difficult to use efficiently. I did run her in the promotion raids earlier today with her, with this artifact on, and she works incredibly well. She can just hold everything, and she just ticks off all of the enemies coming in. It's like everyone is one hit KO, one hit, one hit, one hit.
All right.
So, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, good artifact, I think. Shouldn't be disappointed if you get it.
Definitely not. Yeah, the only challenge is finding her more places to use her. But this definitely is another one where you're getting compensated for the fact that you're loading up on speed. And you shouldn't feel bad for loading up on speed, because there is an artifact which helps boost her damage back up as a result of it.
But are they using exclusive artifacts now to fix champions instead of actual champions?
I think they are. I mean, I think we have seen that they are still willing to look at heroes. The recent changes to Selene and the recent changes to Giselle show that they are still reviewing heroes and how they work.
I think they'll look at Giselle again, because most people seem to think it's a terrible. And the best thing about it is a bonded skill to.
Yeah, I honestly think that is the best thing about Giselle. She gets bonus days. Well, we'll talk about. We can talk. I've talked about it previously, but basically, I think the fact that she's got the damage boost on deployment for 60 seconds gives you a chance to do more damage. The idea is that during that time, you've got her ultimate up. She kills someone with that first ultimate, then she's immediately back up within 60 seconds to do a lot of damage with the next enemy. By which time you've got another hero in, so you probably pull her out and then bring her back in later in the match, where she's possibly a bit further away from the target, and she's able to have a bit more survivability in the long run. But yeah, she's not great.
The thing is, it's from an ancient. That's the bit that would annoy me. There's a smaller pool there. Going to and I would rather they better champions, for want of a better description. I would be disappointed if I got her for that.
Yeah, and some of those, the heroes who are available in that pool are completely transformational and will fit into absolutely any team. So you've got your Ardys, you've got your Carnelians, and they can just fit into any team, and they're just great. And they don't need lots of awakenings. They just need to be built right, and they just dominate. Whereas Giselle,
she's not one of them.
She's not one of them. No, she needs a very specific build. She needs ideally to be in either a strong chaotic or a strong nightmare comp. And even then, she's really difficult to use efficiently. Yeah, so not a fan. And she's a close combat fighter who's a vampire who drains her own life and then doesn't suck it back off the enemies. Now, if we're looking at exclusive artifacts to fix broken heroes, add some lifesteal at the end of her ultimate if she kills an enemy.
Yes, yeah. Or if the enemy's under 50% HP or something, start drain it like every other vampire you've ever seen.
How do you design a vampire like that just doesn't have lifesteal like that? It's just
Better or worse than the 2 swords and only single target?
Well, quite worse, infinitely worse. Right. Now, Lust 1, Captivation of Burning Desire. Now, this one is slightly controversial. Some people like it, some people don't. And what Sinful Lash does is it boosts her rage regen, so it gets her cycle her ultimates faster.
Yeah.
And that means that she's triggering. So she's able to do more damage with these whips.
Yeah, I don't have a legendary nightmare, so I don't really build that many night teams. Although I think her rage is her range is good. Just don't find a lot of use for her, particularly as she was an exclusive, wasn't she? 250 summon. And normally they're very good. I think she's probably bottom of the heap for the ones I actually use.
I've spent some time building her, and I haven't used her a great deal, but I do know a lot of the guys on the global server use her quite a lot, especially in things like Semra and Nightmare, top-end Nightmare comps, where they're trying to boost the rage as much as possible to keep their damage up as high as possible. And she's incredibly good at that. So I think this artifact works very well for that. But yeah, there's different views. I think some people would prefer to have her in a Wailing Skull just for that extra damage, but then you're getting peaks and troughs of the damages depending on whether the ghost summons or not. Whereas this is going to be consistent 30% damage increase, and you're boosting your Sinful Lash. Okay, next up we have Magmus. Now,
wow, what an artifact! I need to do some testing with this. Go on, you go.
I think it reads bad on paper, but then you actually sit down look at his kit. So during his ultimate, he's doubling his health.
Yes.
So if you've got him,
should we say we give him 100k health just for the ease of working?
Yeah. Okay. So it's 100k. It's 5k extra damage. Okay. It's not.
Well,
it's not massive.
It's 10k because they double his health, don't they?
Yes. So yeah, it's 10.
So you
extra
get 10k
damage.
But the question is that per tick, which would be for 15 seconds if you his ultimate, which then would equate to 150,000 damage per lava flow. Ultimate.
Yeah.
Which would be significant then, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So I think this is interesting and probably worthy of actually testing and finding out how it works. Because again, you're into the wordage of the description may not actually reflect what it does or what you hope it does.
Yeah, he can slap pretty hard, and his retribution is a really nice mechanic. I did used to have a single target arena team with Magmus in it that was okay. I'm not going to say it was godly, but it was okay. And yeah, if he has an opportunity to build up the lava stacks on his sword, and then you can get his ultimate going enough, then yeah, he works reasonably well. And yeah,
Because
adding
he's
this,
got one of the highest HPs for fighters, hasn't he?
he does. He's got ridiculously high HP. I think it's up there with elders.
Yeah.
It's not quite at abomination levels, but it is
No.
very, very high.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of them come in around 17, 18,000, don't they? So he
Yeah,
is doing remarkably.
I think it's like in the 27,000s. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's really, really
just,
high.
yeah. So I'd like to test. I think I'll test this at some point, see if what I'm reading is right, and see if it does actually work per tick, or whether it's just the entire. Because if it's the entire ultimate, 10k damage for an entire ultimate isn't that much.
No, it does say each instance of the damage. So yeah, it would be 150k damage on 100k
You'd like to
health
think.
ball. Yeah.
So
But
there's
in that case,
possibilities of it.
but would that be better than the key artifact, which has just come in, which is a flat increase in health in his HP and a flat increase in his damages at the end of it?
Well, this is it, isn't it? Again, without knowing what they fully do, and again, I don't know which part of. So that's 5% of the hero's max HP. Is
Yeah.
that? Does that work up to 10% if you upgrade 5 times that artifact?
Just 1 second. I will have to cross-reference my notes. It goes up to 15% max HP on that
So
when fully skilled up.
15%.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, so it goes up to 15% max HP when fully skilled up, but that's an awful lot of that artifact to get to get the damage out of him. So
Yeah.
it's got potential, but again, you'd probably need it fully awakened to really get the most of it. You need Magmus, and he hits slowly, so you need someone with a lot of speed on him, and you need decent damage on him to really get the best out of it. So he's a hard character to build, but he can work quite effectively.
So enemies are. So the range is quite strange, isn't it? As well, it's also the square tiles around him. Or sorry, the forward and
It's a
back, left and
circle
right.
around him. Yeah.
Does it hit those corner ones as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
It is just that circle damage around him.
So I didn't know if it hit just those full squares to the left and right, or also collars corner ones as.
It should cover the corner ones as well.
Okay, that's an improvement. That's quite nice. So he's not single target then, is he? Or at least
No,
that
he's
ultimate wouldn't
AoE.
be. Yeah.
He's AoE.
So who knows? Who knows? I think it'd be worth testing before it's written off as a bad artifact. But
Yeah.
interesting.
I think
it
on
has
my
potential.
notes, I have it as sort of like A rated because he's the difficult character to use, and you need like a couple of them to really get it like steamrolling as a good artifact. That it's not. I don't have it really highly rated.
Problem is, you never know how lucky or unlucky you're going to be on getting them, do you?
No, absolutely.
There are what 24, 26 artifacts just in the ground based units, and of that, who knows? Get
Yeah, and
you could get different ones every time.
Yeah, and the fighters are the most populous in both the exclusives and the generic pools for the number of artifacts available. So it makes it even harder to sort of like try and build them up over time. Okay, and next up we've got Salazar's. Now, this is the what's it called? Sanguine artifact. No, Scarlet Hunt. This is Scarlet Hunt 2.0. And the key point is this bit here. It restores an extra 1.5% rage with each hit. Now, on its own, it's a bit meh. I mean, it's 9% rage. Throw in his exclusive gear, and then you get an extra couple of hits, and suddenly that's 12%.
12%. Does that
And,
make it any good, though?
well, it puts it on par with Helga's for coming out of the ultimate with 12% of rage. And
With that part, yeah, right. My issue with it, I think it's a little bit lazy because he does 20% more damage, target bleed.
yeah,
And his chance of putting bleed on is, I didn't cut out then, I just. So
I mean, it's about 15% standard, and it goes up. No, sorry, 5. It's like A1. It's
17%
like
if you max him
17%.
out for books.
Yeah.
So you would have to have him running really fast to get enough attacks in because the bleed only lasts for 4 seconds. So you've got to get enough attacks in at a 17% chance to get the bleed on.
I'm pretty much because he kind of hits twice. He's pretty much. I have him running a pretty much 100% uptime on bleed.
Do you?
So yeah.
So what speed have you got him running at then?
I think it's plus 300-ish.
Okay, because if you have the likes of Arrogance and Zilitude, they're affected by burn, and they are guaranteed to put a burn last for much longer. So he's got relatively the same working with bleed, yet the bleed is much harder to put on.
Yeah. But
which
it's
is a little
damage.
bit annoying. It's free damage, but it's harder to put on other exclusive artifacts. I think they're lazy.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue whether the developers get lazy on designing some of these artifacts, but it is what it is in terms of the thing. So it's it's not amazing, and you really need to get it maxed out to make it full advantage of it. And it does go up. It's exactly the same as Scarlet Heart. It goes up to 30%, but you've got to awaken it 5 times to really take it over. And at that point, you're thinking, well, that's a hell of a lot of investment to get to that stage. And but for 9% rage.
Or 12% if you have his exclusive gear.
Yeah.
But then if you get his exclusive gear, it's got to roll well, and you've got a set of it as well.
Yeah,
and it's T3 gear. So would you put your?
Sorry, you were saying you've got T3 gear.
So if you get his exclusive artifact, that's T3 gear. If you've got a full set of it, would you choose him to put your new T3 gear on?
I mean, it's the Night Hunt 2.0, Night Terror 2.0 gear set. So it's the 45% if you're getting the crit damage on it. Sorry, if you're getting crit hit. And he crits a lot. So it works pretty well on him anyway. Other heroes I'd probably want in different gear sets, or I'd keep them in the Soulbound Arcana. So he's probably would be the priority for me in terms of my guild boss teams and getting him built into his exclusive set.
Which guild boss?
Drake.
Okay. So, but do you already hit 50k on that?
Currently running above 60, 62, 63.
So, why?
Because Salazar was one of my early heroes, and I like him.
Oh, right. It's an emotional attachment, not anything.
Well, he's A3, and so in terms of my night, so I run the pretty bog standard Infernal Nightmare comp. So if I had I haven't tried running a Yavar. I know it's possible, but I've got a team that works. I'm getting over 50k. And I'm not really interested in doing all the cycling. It's too faffy for me. So I'd much rather just get my heroes in and just get their ultimates firing off.
But we have a new one. We have a new level coming by the end of the year, don't we?
I believe so, yeah. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's what they said in the dev insight thing, wasn't it? by the end of the year, the next level of so.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did hit their timeline of real time arena. It just at the end of September, so they kept that
Just
one in.
enough.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. If I need to change things up when the new boss comes out, then I will. But at the moment, I'm relatively happy with the team performance. Okay, so moving on. Selene, I think this works really, really well with her revamped kit because it's increasing the stacks. I spoke about it a lot in the video where we talked about the rework. I'll put a link to that just down below just to remind everybody. But yeah, it works really well with her kit. The more hits she does, reduces the number of stacks that inflict throbbing wound by 1. So its base is 4. The artifact makes it 3. So during her ultimate, she's then triggering her the throbbing wound twice, which is another 400% damage on top of her ultimate, which is reasonable. So it's about 800% damage. So it takes up to 1200% damage. So it's a nice one for her. It works really well.
Yeah, and everyone will everyone get this? Do they normally put them out with because she's coming up as a Shard Summon event, isn't she?
She is going to be the next Shard Summon. So I would imagine after the Kigiri, well, unless they go straight into a Shard Summon after the patch, because they do like to stack their big summon weekends around the time of a Shard Summon. So there is a possibility that the patch lands and it goes straight into Selene summoning, Shard Summon next week.
And then that first weekend would be the big summoning and so on and so forth with the Shard Summoning. Yeah, very possibly. So is her exclusive, do you feel, going to be part of those events?
I don't think so, because I think that's going to be that first one is going to be very much the demonic relic, which is Kigiri's, and we'll talk about that at the end. I think that's when that's going to be out. I think the Shard Summon, she might be in a shop. She might be purchasable from the Kigiri event shop, so you can buy his artifact. You might be able to buy her artifact as well.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen anything confirmed about that from the leak crews. I say confirmed by the leak crews. I haven't seen anything from the leak crew about that.
There's an oxymoron, eh?
Yeah, I know. So there. I don't think it's going to come up. But yeah, if you get it and you've got her, and especially if you're getting that magic vulnerability because you've got Giselle, then yeah, it's definitely a good one to have. Right, Valerius. I don't like this one because you talk about boring artifacts. I think this is
lazy.
This is another lazy. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very lazy. It's limited only to her ultimates. Her ultimate. Her ultimate is, yeah. She is a useful character in certain situations, but yeah, she can be a peg to use if she goes wrong, and it causes lots of things to fall apart. But
yeah, single target arena is where she shines, isn't it? Being first out of the box seems to be where she shines.
I think if you were using her as a lane blocker in Gear Dungeon 2 and you wanted her to just go in and do an ultimate suicide and die, yeah, that would probably work really, really well. But that is about it. I'm not a massive fan of this artifact. I think there's a lot
very lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, you're generally going to be wanting to put a damage artifact on her, even Flux Pendant, which consistently boosts her crit damage without having
which is
to be
available
in
the shop.
Exactly. It's not
so
limited.
You haven't even
to
got
only...
a roll or hope you get the flux, have you? The flux pendant or whatever it is. You haven't. I mean, that just you can buy one of those every week. 5 weeks, it's maxed out, and that relies on her being low health, which she is pretty much all the time.
Exactly. So yeah, Flux Pendant is significantly better than this. This is just a bit meh overall.
Yeah.
Okay, we are nearly there on the fighters. We've got 5 left of the main list. Okay, so Glacial
it.
Wings and Valkyra. Now, when this came out, I was a bit like, it's not great. But where I've realized it works quite well is if you're not running her near a shielded healer. Now, for whatever reason, you might be running a mixed up comp and she's in there to sort of do her thing, and you're using the Northern Lord to give her a shield.
Yeah.
But this lets her gain a shield on her basic, so she's
It
a bit
frees
more
her up
independent.
massively. Yeah. Yeah, I value the independence from her that this gives. I use her and this in Gear Dungeon 2. I think it is. Or is it Gear Dungeon 1? No, yeah, Gear
Gear Dungeon
Dungeons I
1.
use her in. Yeah, so I use her there with this. I don't use her in faction. Yeah, her faction trials, because there's another artifact, isn't there, that if she doesn't take damage for 4 seconds, that increases her damage. So in the
Yeah,
faction trials, I
the
generally use that one.
flawless blade or realm tear I would use
Yeah,
in that one, because
yeah,
she just gets a big damage, and it helps take out those really heavy shielded guys at the bottom. And
yes,
you can generally time her ultimates along with the cycling of the faction ultimate
yeah,
on that one. Whereas, yeah, in something like a gear dungeon where you've got the waves of damage coming in from the boss that might wipe out your faction leader shield, this will help you put it back on quickly, which means you
yeah,
can cycle her ultimate and then take out those sycophants at the top before they become problematic.
yeah. I just really like you said, the independence it gives. You can put her down, and you haven't got have I got a vortex or something to go alongside her. Yeah, I think it's just absolutely brilliant. I think actually well thought out for a pleasant change. Not like the previous artifact.
No. Now, Winter's Call. Now, this, yeah, now this is quite a fun one because his speed is ridiculous in his ultimate. He's a character you can build without any speed on
Have
him
you
because he
played
just,
around and tested him on stuff? Have you? Because I keep thinking, every time I need to get him out, I need to do some possibly on. Is it Lord of Sticks? Is it where you have to do a number of on the shield? I keep thinking, will he be?
yeah.
Because he's what, the fastest champion in the game? Is
Yeah,
he?
he's insanely fast. I think Sargak is the only one who comes close. And that's,
Stacking up to 1,400 is ridiculous.
yeah, yeah, it's absolutely insane. So during his ultimate, he gains 1400 speed. That gets him down to a 0.33 interval for his attack speed, and that's just base.
That is
That's
quick. That is.
uh, and that means that if you're adding additional speed from his gear, you're getting that even higher. So that interval is going to come down even lower. I'm mentioning it, remembering it's an asymptote, so it's just going to get smaller and smaller the changes. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
still massive, the impact of that 1400.
Yeah. Have you tried him on Lord of Sticks or anything like that? Have you? Because that's just
I
number of hits
have
on a ship. You
I
have.
haven't, but it's probably worth trying. And actually, it might help me break that final shield, which is a real pain
Messed
in the
up.
neck,
Yeah.
which is over
Just look at it, you
500.
think 1,400. Every time I see it, I must remember to do something with that. And then, the things get in the way. But
Yeah,
yeah, just looks like he's designed for it.
yeah,
And
it's
so,
always one
will
of
his
those ones where we need some.
exclusive, is that an extra hit? So, would that be like counting as another hit where it does extra damage?
Each stack deals extra damage to 1 time the current attack speed. So
How does that read to you?
to me, that so it does sound like it's 2 hits, but no, I think it does extra damage. So it's basically you do his damage, you get whatever damage it is, and then you get the multiplier of the 1400 plus or
Okay.
whatever. on top of that. So it's not a massive increase, but then you remember you're hitting every like a third of a second. You're hitting for that. It actually stacks up quite quickly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so wouldn't be that useful in a against Lord of the Sticks for applying damage, but if you are running him in Drake boss, because I remember like when I started, Voroth was one of the people that you use early in the to take down the enemy, to take down the Drake with the shields, because he's just so fast and he was relatively easy to get hold of. That yeah, if you've got this and you've got him, easy way of taking down the Drake shields relatively easily, and at the same time you're then stacking damage into that shield, so when it bursts you get that damage applied. So it's a good one.
Yeah,
definitely the best artifact for him, just because it feeds into his kit so nicely.
absolutely.
Right, Volca. Now this one I do love,
I love this.
because
Really happy with it.
yeah, because that 30% damage bonus from the Scarlet Ferments is really, really nice. And the fact it becomes permanent, it just, yeah, it's just absolutely brilliant for her. And that timeout on it was really annoying, because
Yes,
her bats would just
because
fly
that's a
away. Now
30% increase, isn't it? It's not up to 30%. It just increases it by that. So,
yeah, and
absolutely
then you remember
fantastic.
that in her ultimate, she's applying vulnerabilities on top of that. So she's got the potential to put out lots and lots of damage. And her A5, which if you're all running Tide, you should be getting to. Anything with a debuff on, she's then doing bonus damage on top of that. She is an absolute powerhouse that you can get a lot of damage out of. We all love her because of her A1, but she does, if you in the right gear, she can actually do lots and lots of damage too.
It's not just her A1, is it? I mean, she also supplies all that healing as well.
Yeah.
Healing effect as a loose gear. People get a bonus out of it just because she's on the team and you self heals. All that time you've got healing effect on you, just if you've got Volker on your team. And then this makes her much more tanky and lot.
And she's got an incredibly tanky build anyway.
Yeah.
Her she's like 3,000 defense, and she's got a decent health pool plus the self healing that she does. Yeah, she's a good all
And you get
round
it for
hero.
free.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
get it for free all the way to A5 if you can. As long, I mean, she's just free to play, friendly, and awesome, and a really good.
Yeah,
boost.
definitely. Definitely the best for her. Now, moving on to another hero. This is Blaze of Ezekiel for Zilitu. This one works well if you're in an Infernal comp and you can build it up. Would I take it over Wailing Skull? Possibly not, but again, it's consistency of performance. If I'm running Solkadens or I'm running anyone who's applying any burning, then she's doing really, really great damage.
Yeah.
On top of that. So 5 seconds, her increases the burning that she inflicts by 3 seconds. So that goes up to 8 seconds, which is one of the longest burnings in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're running a nigh, then that's
longer than bleed.
Yeah, absolutely. An awful lot longer than bleed. It's got the potential to do lots of fun stuff around the damage. Sorry, the Anai, who is refreshing with her ultimate. So you're going to make sure she's got those stacks, those full 8 stacks of burning up for when.
Yeah.
And also really, really good if you're running her in Immortal Codex against the Boreas boss, the Lord of Frost, because that's generally where she's really weak, because she's going up and down with her ultimate, and she can only really apply damage to when things are burning. This extended burning duration from her ultimate just gives her that bit more healing outside of the ultimate before the next one comes back up.
Just having a quick read of that, and seems really good actually. So the burn goes on for 5 seconds. This would extend it to 8.
Yeah,
The ultimate is 25 seconds long. Do
goes
we
up to 30
increase that at all?
seconds, and it goes. I think one of her awakenings increases it for another couple of seconds. So
Okay.
I think A3 increases it to 10 seconds.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. So you could have a burn on for a long old time, couldn't you? That'd be really nice. So even without it awakened, she would put the next tick on at 24 seconds, wouldn't she? So you would have a burn on for 7 seconds after a roll if you just use her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's quite nice. But again, it would depend on your team and how burn. But yeah, I do like an eye though. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got a soft spot for her, but she doesn't get a lot.
Yeah, I've just got an eye up to I think A2 or A3, and yeah, I've got her skilled up, and I'm trying to make use of her just to try and get the most out of her for beating that boss at Triple S, because I've got 2 codexes left now to get that achievement, and
I've got
I've
one done.
I, yeah, I'm hoping I've got that one lined up. I've got Iovar now to take out Pelagios, so I'm ready for the Lord of Frost to come back, so I can have another go with this in the bag. And finally, Wrath and his flaming pauldrons. Now, if I can position this somewhere behind our heads in an efficient way. No, I can't. Basically, he does bonus damage to bosses with this artifact, but it removes his self heal. Now,
Yeah.
in most situations, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
in Void Rift, you don't want it because you want him out on his own and he's like taking out minions and he's healing himself and keeping himself going. But
Yeah.
if you're going into something like Semra and you need a cheap Nightmare Lord and you want that bonus damage from him, this is perfect. Absolutely perfect for him. It's a good one. It's situational though. But yeah, I think it's a really nice artifact for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of places I use him, and I use him because he heals. If I
Mm.
fitted this, I'd probably have to use glow. Yeah, it's that self heal that again, quite often Volker's in the team as well, so that's a bonus. Just buffing that healing that he's getting. So it would be annoying, doesn't it?
But he's doing 15% bonus
More,
damage.
yeah, more damage. Yeah,
So, and he's only getting something like 2%, no, 1% healing from her. So the more damage you're putting in, the more healing you're getting out. So it actually
yeah,
would probably balance out in the long run. But his
maybe.
heals with his heavy blow are impressive. When he's fully awakened, he can pretty much fill his entire health bar with a heavy blow.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's all right. Would I be happy if I got it? Probably not, if I'm honest. There are better ones in the plot that I'd rather. This is the issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
So out of those, how many would you be happy that you got there?
I think that I probably about half of them I'd be quite happy about. I think that the more of the arrogance ones I have, the better, because I run him. I've got him A5. I think he's a great hero, and long
Still
time
haven't got
player.
one. Still haven't got one.
So yeah, I think he's definitely got. It's a really nice one to have. I think I'd quite like some more of Salazar's, especially with his exclusive gear now, because that
Yeah,
exclusive gear does some extra big hits. So I think that's going to like help him survive the power creep, because those 2 extra 300% hits are pretty big. Um, and yeah, I think the Facility one, I think quite like to build it up because I've got it now, and I am looking for that edge in
yeah.
the Lord of Frost. And yourself, any of those you'd really like?
Falcia, I mean, I really want that one. Really do. I'd love to play around with it and see what it's like. Who else would I like? I don't know. I think, yeah, that's my most wanted for fighters. So, where, if any, of the fighter would you use your mythic artifact essence?
I think probably on the Arrogance one.
Or would you
Just
save it for others anyway?
at the moment, I did manage to make one from Semra Rewards this week, and I actually put it on Silas because I'm trying to do some stuff with him at the moment. That again, hoping for his exclusive gear, because the extra 100% damage ignoring
Yeah.
is always fun. But I think it'd be that's the one I'm focusing on at the moment because it's got the most potential for longevity. But yeah, Arrogance or Helga's is nice just because it gives her it again. It builds back in her damage and makes her more useful overall. But yeah, there's different heroes you can use it on. But I think Arrogance is probably my primary one. I think.
Yeah. I mean, I've got Hex's book, and I would
Hmm.
probably use them in that if I ever got a Hex.
Same. Hex avoids me. I mean, if I sunk all 40,000 gems I've got into the Hex banner, I would not get Hex. Hex is completely elusive to me. I'd probably end up with something really, really horrible. But yeah, Hex continues to avoid me. I put so much. I was really hoping the nascent banners would be nice. At the anniversary, but
Yeah.
no, I didn't get it. That's next time. Next time.
So, who do you think would never see an exclusive artifact?
Um, from the fighters, let's just pull up the fighter list. So if we come into the fighters, so from the fighters, who wouldn't get an exclusive? I don't know. I think that the ancient it'd be tough if they've already shown that they're like Falcia, who's limited, has got an exclusive, but it's whether they start giving them to. Oh, I tell you what they could do. They could give it. They could give more an exclusive that made him useful. That's one who
What
needs something.
put knockback to at least +1? Yeah.
Oh yeah, as a minimum. Um, how about block +1 as well? Block +1 and knockback +1. That would make him useful. Um, right. No. So Falcia. I don't know. Elder maybe. I don't know. I think Valderon doesn't need one. I think one for Valderon would
Oh
be
yeah.
completely
Yeah.
overpowered.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have to agree with that. I can't see him getting one, particularly anytime soon, because he's already so far ahead of the curve on everyone else. Give him an exclusive to make him that better
Yeah.
would really shift the even more.
Yeah, it'd be the worst thing they could do, really. It would give him an exclusive. Um, I think
And give Jira
there's
one to fix her A1.
you're not happy with the removing of the radiant erosion,
No, I was hoping they were going to fix it, but they didn't. They buffed Pope instead, which was a shame.
but that I mean, this guy Thalen in his base kit removes radiant erosion, and no one was getting excited about it. It was only when Jira came out that people started getting removing stacks of radiant erosion.
Yeah, because she's not overly useful. And build a mark. I think from again, this is the pool she's in.
Hmm.
I think she's one of the lesser heroes from that pool that you can get.
I think I think she can be quite powerful, and I think she can be if she's built well. But she's very difficult to build because she's designed around taking hits and then applying that back. But if you've got to get her speed not too high so that she can receive enough damage while she's building up the stacks. It's this retribution. So she needs to be able to reflect that damage back.
Yeah,
Sorry, divine reprisal. This is it. So she
yeah,
can
because that
deal.
retribution is weird.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So she can reflect up to 200% damage back of the damage she's received. So no, 150. She can do it. Receive. Yeah, take up to 150% damage that she's received. So yeah.
But not if she's shielded as a northerner.
No, but you would run her with. I mean, I run her as an arbiter, so it's a slightly different game.
Who are putting on the radiant erosions, and their other
Yeah,
champions need them on. I just think it's a weird mechanic to have.
but I mean, without wanting to get so if you're running a high speed Alistair and A1 Alistair or you're running Pope, then you're getting radiant erosion on an awful lot. So it's not really a concern. I mean, Ingrid in her star mode, she's constantly applying it. So there are sources of radiant erosion. Okay, not everyone has them, but it's it's not. I don't think it's the problem that people have tried to make it out to be. I think there's definitely a go away flash banners.
Do
So
you want to buy some stuff?
no, no. I think it's people. This came out and people got a bit excited, and I've spoken about it previously, but I think it's okay, but they've their way of addressing it, I don't think settled
Helped.
people.
No, their way of addressing it was to buff Pope.
Yeah.
Which, if you're right that they put on enough radiant.
Yeah. Okay, so the last artifact we're going to talk about, and it's relevant to next weekend, is this one. So this is Demonic Relic. So this is exclusive to Kigiri. It increases his damage by 15%, and it allows him to do bonus, inflict mark or targets hit by his sweeping strike, which is part of his talent, and his ultimate. Basically mean that he does bonus damage to them, and he will put them for I think it's next to 30% damage at base with this artifact. Yeah. So it's quite nice. His so he'll either do his hold for 8 seconds and then do a sweeping strike, or he'll do a parry and do his ember strike, doing bonus damage as well, and that'll do 30% damage. Now, if his passive triggers and he does the bounce back, then he'll do bonus damage to them on the strike back, so as well. So I think it's a really good one for him. I think this guy's going to be nuts. He's got such good range on his ultimate. He's going to cause chaos in Guild Wars, especially the Season 5 map, because he's going to be able to reach over the wall and cause damage to people coming up the path to that first tank. And he's not going to have to worry about incoming damage. So
Won't have to worry really about the Garnet guards, will he? Because he's not on the platform.
No, and so he's got that survivability. Yeah.
So the thing I do like about these events is they give out exclusive artifacts, these limited champions as well. And the exclusives generally aren't that hard to get, which I think is really good. So you get a good champion and you get their exclusive. Really does bolster your account. And they're not that hard to get. So I think most accounts should get them.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great opportunity to have get people excited about the game again. Definitely looking forward to it, and maybe maybe depending on my availability, I might try and do a live stream next week of the actual event in play, because I think that's going to be good fun.
Yeah, maybe. But this is 170 million, isn't it? From that video they put out last week was 50 million or something, wasn't it?
But if this guy's doing what people expect him to do, I think that's not going to be hard to get that level, especially running in a full nightmare comp with Lust next to him. I think he's going to be causing absolute chaos. Or you're going to be putting him next to, or in an Ingrid comp where he's doing bonus damage off when she's doing direct damage. So there's going to be ways of like really boosting his damage.
So he is Watcher Nightmare, isn't he?
He's Watcher Nightmare. Personally, I have an issue with that. I don't think Watcher Nightmare should exist. But then again, I don't think Starpiercer, Watcher Guard should exist either. So that's just me reading the lore and going, that shouldn't work. But here we are.
It is what it is. Deal with it.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing worse would be a chaotic arbiter. So
yeah, you said it now, haven't you?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really fun artifact for him. I think it's going to make his damage absolutely nuts, above what it is already. And yeah, it's definitely one to try and get. Right, that's everything on the fighters list, fighter exclusive list. Do let us know what you thought in the comments, and let us know if you like this series. We will try and do it. Probably, I will spare Mystical going through all of the other ones with me. I will drag some other poor soul into this, and we will continue this story. So thank you once again, Mystical, and thank you to your cat for keeping me entertained during this this long slog. No, he's not going to say hello. So thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, mate. Been a pleasure.